Just gonna wait for the viewers to join. Tonight, I'll be interviewing Elise. She is a mother of two, a breakout hairstylist, an entrepreneur, and she's gonna be chatting with me on life, finding her balance, COVID naturally, and just a few things she's noticed throughout her life. While I wait for her to join, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. There she is. I'm gonna welcome her in.
Hey,
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Oh, that wall behind you is so pretty.
Oh, thank you. I felt like we needed something like fun and festive.
It's so pretty, but not as pretty as you. Wow,
Oh,
stunner.
thank you. You are too. Pretty
Thanks,
girl.
girl. It's so pretty. So the people viewing are probably like, what? Do they even know each other? We actually don't. We
No,
don't. We connected over Instagram actually, and then realized quickly we have quite a bit in common, which is crazy. Um, I felt like when I asked you for your bio, it was came back and I was like reading a mirror image of myself. I was like, wow, we're so similar in so many ways. Elise, for those that don't know you, can you tell them a bit about yourself?
sure. My name's Elise. I'm from the Ottawa area. I have two kids and I'm a hairstylist. Kind of sums me up.
In a nutshell,
In a
you're
nutshell.
definitely a lot more than that, my dear. But Elise, how are you guys doing at home? How's everything going with the kids and work and all of that?
Well, work's on hold, which is, I'm really thankful that I'm not juggling the two, because I think that would have been really overwhelming. We're doing okay. You know, there's good days and bad days. I think that's all I keep hearing is like one day you're like, yes, it's so great to be at home and just enjoy the little things. And then the next day it's like, ah. So it's a mix
Yeah,
of both. Honestly, it's a mix of both.
yeah, I hear you. It's been something for sure. Something that
Yeah.
none of us have ever seen before. How are the kids adjusting and handling it?
Um, the littlest one is fine. She's really a homebody, so she's happy to just sit and play and just be around me. But the oldest one, he is struggling with it for sure. So it's keeping him busy. You know, they miss their friends and their social life, and I think it's hard on them and it's confusing, and they're like nervous, they're scared, they don't understand. So that's hard. There's been a lot of emotions under one roof.
Yeah.
Managing everyone's emotions. Yeah. Yeah.
You're going a bit blurry on me. I don't know what's happening. I can still hear you, just a little blur.
Is blurry still?
It comes and goes, but I can still hear
Okay. I think it's time for an upgrade.
you. You're not afraid of the 5G network, are you?
No.
We were chatting a little bit about that. I would love to hear your thoughts on the whole COVID situation. Are you following the news, following any of the theories? What are your thoughts on it?
um, it's a tough one. My thoughts are that like we don't know anything, so I'm just open to the fact that it could be like numerous things, and I'm just staying away from the outside world as much as I can, and I can't even like all the conspiracies and things like that. I like, sure, maybe those things could be a possibility, but like right now, especially being at home with two children, I can't even like, I can't indulge in those things because we just don't know anything. So that's
Right.
kind of my thoughts of just trying to follow along. But I mean, I'm sick of it. We're all sick of it, but it's
Right.
scary. So
It,
yeah,
it is. And I know now they're talking about kind of opening back up again. And I'm terrified with that happening because I wonder, is that going to cause the second wave? What's going to happen?
yeah, it's yeah, it's super scary.
Right.
Like some days I'm just like, oh, screw it. Like, it's probably not even that bad. And then it's like, no, it probably is. And we just don't even know. So it's scary to think like everything's going to open up again. And yes, it will be nice to go back to normal. But yeah, like if the second wave hits, you know, everybody should have just maybe just stay in for a while and like let it pass. But I don't know that there's any way to really control it other than staying in. So I don't know. It's probably going to be around. Like even we're gonna at some point have to go back to normal, and it's still going to probably be lurking everywhere. So
Yeah. Oh, you're definitely right. Did you grew up in the Ottawa area?
I'm from a small town outside. I'm a farm girl. I grew up in the country. Yeah.
So how are you finding like the city life since you're used to
The country life.
country life?
Um, I I enjoy being in more of an urban area. I miss home sometimes. Like sometimes I think, oh, it would have been nice to raise the kids in the country. But I think there's pros and cons to anywhere you live. And I feel like we have more access to things living in the city. And I always have the farm and the country to go to, which is I feel really grateful for. So it's nice. Yeah.
Are all your families here now in the city, or are they still kind of they're all scattered?
No, we're all kind of spread out. Like half the family is in the country still, and then my youngest sister lives close by.
Are you able to see her throughout this whole thing? Are you guys
No.
still connected?
No, we talk like a million times a day. And I have gone to, you know, I've gone to her place and like stood outside and we've exchanged things. And so it's really hard not, it's hard. It's hard not to see people. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
How are you able to stay sort of balanced and connected with the people and the friends that you have in the city and your sister, other than, you know, making those FaceTime calls? How are you finding your you time in the midst of balancing the kids and housework and all of that?
I've been taking walks by myself, although I haven't in the past couple of days. Sometimes even at that, even to take an hour out, I mean, you have kids, you know what it's like. It's hard to sneak in time. But I've tried to go for walks, and we have this little path in kind of a forest, and I just find myself there like every day, just going and walking and being in the quiet or listening to a podcast and just to get away because as soon as you know the day rolls on and you're occupying children and they're asking you a million questions, you know, every 2 seconds, and you're living with chipmunk voices, right? Like from 7 a.m. until 9 o'clock at night. And as much as it's amazing and I love them and I actually really enjoyed spending the extra time with them, I need like a break to be able to. Yeah, you have to like center yourself again and be like, I need to be in quiet and I need to center myself when I start to feel like I'm getting really agitated, and I can walk away and then come back and start all over again. So it's good.
Yeah. What were your coping mechanisms for that before all of this happened? I know that you're kind of a bit newer to the hairstyling industry. Were you working before getting into hair?
No, I've been a stay-at-home mom for, I guess, I started 10 years ago when I had my son. He just turned 10. So I was at home for a really, really long time. And I used to work at a local gym. I did that very part-time because I really needed something other than being at home and being physical and something on the side. So that was really fun. But yeah, other than that, when my daughter went to school is when I picked up hair, yeah, which I've always wanted to do, always, always. So it's been nice. It's been an interesting journey. That's for sure.
Well, and it's crazy because life is kind of like a revolving door, you know, and I feel like it's always spinning, and every time it stops to open, you're at a different place and a new destination, wondering, you know, do I get out? What am I going to do when I get out to the other side? And I find a lot of stay-at-home moms, when they're coming out of that and transitioning to something else, it's that awkward, you know, stage of, am I making the right choice? Am I going on the right path? Am I going to like what I find on the other side of it? But you didn't even get to fully go there before this happened. So what are your hopes now for after all of this?
Like in terms of my career or
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, the nice thing, and how I went about getting into our line of work is that they have an apprenticeship program, so I was able to kind of work, and then I stopped for a period to go to school, and so that was nice. So I have been in it for it's been I can't believe it, but it's been almost 2 years now.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so I mean, I'm newly licensed, but I've been in it for a while. So afterwards, I have actually I'm opening a studio in my house, so I'm so excited, and that was kind of my plan from the beginning because I didn't start at 18 like a lot of stylists did. I started later on, so it's it was a mission to work for myself. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. So the doors are supposed to be open in April, and it didn't happen, but it's kind of been nice to take a step back from it because it was all a lot dealing with kids and opening a business and renovations and planning, and I haven't done it before. So um, it's actually been nice to just kind of stop and fine tune, take a what am I trying to say? A fine tooth comb. Is that the saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to look to really take an overview of what I wanted and to be able to double check everything. So it's been good, but that's the plan.
That's awesome. Hopefully it'll work out and this passes quickly for us all. Um, but I have to ask, and this is a little bit of a personal question, is did you ever feel like you had, just grabs the glass, did you ever feel like you had an emotional guilt stepping out from that,
Oh my
you know?
God. Yeah, it was terrible. Actually, the transition in, I kept my, when I went back to work, I kept my hours very part-time. But even at that, like I would work 2 evenings a week, and then I would try to keep it within the school hours, the other shifts, and sometimes I would work a Saturday. And the couple places that I worked for were really great. Of just being, I was like, I can't be here every weekend. Like I just can't. I said it right off the bat, and they were so accommodating with that, which I'm really fortunate because I didn't think I could even do it because it really is an evening and weekend job. So not being home every Friday or Thursday and Friday night, it was really hard. It was hard on the kids and it was hard on me, but I had to do it. Like at some point, you have to. They're fine. They're fine without you for a bit, and I had to do it for me. Um, so, but yeah, I'm guilty. I'm always guilty. I'm guilty right now because I rushed bedtime. You know what I mean? That's just a mom's world is living in guilt.
I think so, unfortunately. But what do you think causes that? Do you think it's um, like society, the pressures, or what we put on ourselves?
I think it's oh, I don't that's a really good question. I think it's a combination of everything. I think it's your how do I say it? I don't know if it's an instinctual thing because we have to like make sure that we keep like small human beings alive. So we're
Right.
so attached to them. Like it's like it's such an emotional and physical attachment, and until you've had a child you can't like it's just
Okay.
it's not a weird thing, but it's a weird thing when you really look at it. And it's an extension of yourself, and they're young and they're or even when they're older, like I'm sure it will always be that way. So I think it's instinctual a little bit. And
Right.
I'm sure it's like a bit of society for sure. I mean, the pressures on women is outrageous. Um, and I think that creates a lot of trauma, like just everyday trauma, right, for a woman because the pressures are so high. But I think it's a mix. I really do. It's a weird thing.
It is. And I think, I mean, I don't know if your mom was a stay-at-home mom at all. My mom was for sort of the second half of her life as a mother, I guess. She, at the beginning, was working and then sort of stayed home when we were a little bit older, so it was in reverse. But I think that it makes you feel like that's sort of the role you have to play when it's something you're witnessing,
Mm-hmm.
which is really right. So I don't know how you found that balance or that dynamic translating into your own life, but for me, I know it was a little bit of this is what I grew up with and grew up knowing.
Yeah. Well, our household, because we lived on a farm, my dad was always around, and my mom worked for a school board, so it felt like she was a stay-at-home mom, and there was periods where she was at home, but she worked within the hours that we worked, and she had always had holidays off. So I didn't ever feel an absence from her. Like I never felt her work took away. So I never had that feeling of having a working mom. And being a stay-at-home mom was a choice. My husband and I both wanted it. He is very busy. He works all the time, and it made sense. And it made sense of the period of time in my life that I was at too, to stay at home. And I wanted to stay at home with him, and I loved it. And I'm like very thankful that I had that time. But as the years went on, like I did realize that I needed to build something for myself. Um, and instead of just pushing it down and ignoring it, I had to like follow through with it, because I think it's important to show your kids, you know, personal success. I don't just mean in like work wise, but following and creating something for yourself is, I think it's important. So, yeah.
Well, it's success on its own, right? And I think that, you know, we use these words, success, and we have this like dollar sign attached to it, that success has to mean you're making millions. But the reality is, it just has to mean that you followed through with your goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, you know, if you're trying to lose 10 pounds, but you've only lost one, that's a success.
Yeah.
You want to make $1 million, but you've only made 1,000, that's still a success.
Yeah.
So it does translate to that as well. And I think it's really beautiful and inspiring that you were able to sort of recognize what was missing for you personally and drive to get it. And you did. And that's really beautiful. It's hard. It's hard as a mom, you know, to say like, okay, I'm going to do this. And still knowing you have all the other things that you need to do.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to add on to your plate, taking on something new. But you know, you gotta, if it's what you want to do, you have to make sacrifices. And I mean, at the same time, I am lucky. I could work part time. I made sure that I kind of, you know, more time was still spent at home than it was at work. And but I think having kids, like for me personally, before I had them, I felt like I want to be successful. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, and success meant more like your career and money and, you know, not necessarily things, but, you know, success with the dollar sign. And then I had kids, and it slowed me down, and it made me realize that like the little successes, you know, I take so much pleasure in like the little things that I never thought I would have, you know, do you know what I mean? Like I find success and joy in the small things, and that's totally from my kids, like 100%. Because before I was go, go, go all the time. And, you know, I was looking for something that I couldn't find. I didn't even know what I was looking for, really. We're all lost in when we're in our early 20s, just trying to figure life out. But I had kids a little bit younger, and yeah, I feel like that helped me realize that, you know, success is having beautiful relationships, and success is fulfilling the things that are missing from your life, or things that you want to achieve or accomplish. So yeah, I feel like, you know, having kids before I got into my career really kind of opened my eyes to what success for me looked like. It's different for everybody.
Of course, but I think that's a beautiful way to view it and to explain it as well. I have to ask, because I know I felt this at point as a mother. Did you ever feel like maybe when your kids were a little bit younger, because I'm a mother, I can't do things anymore? That sort of sense of lost self. Did you ever
No,
feel
that
like
really pissed me off. That like and that mentality, and I've had it with just within my own family, and of, well, maybe you shouldn't be doing that anymore. Maybe you should not have this any, like I hate that. I hate limitations on women because they become a mother. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. It's such an old way of thinking. And as women and as mothers, like we know what's best for our kids. And but we have to start taking responsibility for also what's best for us too. And I think like you when you become a mother, for most, not for all women, I mean some women really don't have those maternal instincts, and that's okay too. But you're going to do, ultimately, no matter what, you're always going to do what's best for your kids. So
Right.
setting all these limitations on yourself of what you shouldn't do or what you should be doing is just, it makes me so angry. I don't understand it. It's weird to me, but it is what it is.
Right.
So
I
listen.
think it comes with that whole how can I? You know, how will I be able to make it possible? How will I be able to find that balance? And it's not hard to do, but I think when you overthink it, it becomes the most difficult thing, right?
Oh, for
So
sure.
for
For
you, I
sure.
don't know, did you find it easy to just sort of figure it all out, find the
No.
time, demand yourself?
No, it was not easy. It's still not easy. But I know, like, I don't know for you, but for me, like, I know when it's time, when I need to go and, like, when I need to
Take
go
it.
do something. I know when it's time, when I want to have a date night with my husband, and it's been a while. I know when I need to see my girlfriends. I know, like, you can feel it, right? And if you just let guilt, or you shouldn't go and do that because you should just be at home, um, like control you, you're going to be miserable, right? Like, and there are things that I want to do all the time that I don't do because I have obligations and I need to be at home. But when I get a chance to go and do something, I do go and do it, and I still feel guilty about it, but at least I have an inner dialogue to be able to tell myself, like, it's fine. You need to go and do something, and you're going to be a better mother if you go do and be a little bit when you can than if you don't.
Well, and I think that inner dialogue is really important, and a lot of people don't tap into that energy or that side of things, right? Recognize either I'm not well right now, or my thought process isn't right. I'm anxious because, and it does take a lot of work to be able to do those things and sit in reflection with yourself and try to understand yourself and what you need. And it's beautiful that you were able to do that, I feel like.
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of support from family and friends when you stepped out of the house, started trying to find, yourself a little bit more, your identity a little bit more? Were they sort of
Yeah.
pushing you back in, or was the
No, it was definitely, I think, like, I think everybody saw that it was maybe time for me to go and, like my kids were getting older and I had more time to do things. And I've always wanted to do the job that I'm doing now, like since I was a little girl, like forever and a day. And I've always been playing with people's hair and giving them makeovers, like for, 30 years. So it was time, and everybody was really supportive. And yeah, so it all fell into place really nicely.
what would you say to this sort of struggling mom right now, or the one who feels like she can't find that time for herself, either in this situation or just in life in general? What advice would you give to her?
I think a lot of moms, like how you were saying before, you have to demand the time. You have to set a precedent with your spouse and with yourself. If you have like this feeling that where you're overwhelmed, I mean, being a mom, if you never take a step out, even if it's once a month, like if you never take a step out of your situation, like it can be too much. Like, let's get real. Let's be real. Like, being a mom, it's like, it's a shit show half the time, and you can love it as you love it so much. It's amazing, and it brings you so much joy and adds so much to your life, but it's a lot to have people relying on you. And it's monotonous, the side things that you have to do to keep everything going, like all the house stuff. And so I think you have to demand the time. You have to make the time. Sometimes you just have to make the time, and you have to let things go. Like, if, you know, things in the house need to be done, and you're like, I have to do that before I take care of myself or do something for myself. Like you have to let that go and just go and do and be, because it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. You have to do things for you. You have to do enjoyable things that you like to do, because it's too much. If you don't, you
Yeah.
know.
No, I know. I get it completely. And I feel that. I feel like you said earlier, you know when you're in that position. You know when you sort of you can feel it. It's very evidently there, but I think it's hard for a lot of people again to recognize it. A lot of people, it comes out in the form of like angry outbursts or just self-loathing, whatever the case may be, because they're not able to recognize their personal needs. And I find, like I said this to you over the phone the other day, you have such a nice energy about it. And you're such a, it's very positive, your tone, and it's like a feel good vibe. And it's
Oh,
nice.
that's nice.
Yeah, I got that sense off the phone right away. And even now, just sitting here, and it's nice to know that there are people who are able to recognize so much self and to have so much self-awareness, especially in a situation like this, because you want to be able to know when you're not okay so that you can take the necessary steps to be okay. And you want to know it in a manner that when you're expressing it to your spouse or to your kids or to whoever it is, it's not coming out wrong. It's coming out in a way that they'll receive it and understand it. So
Yeah.
I think it's cool that you're able to do that and that you're able to share it. And I find that very inspiring, actually. I really do.
Well, it's been a long time in the making, and I still have lots of moments where, you throw like that adult temper tantrum because it's
Yeah.
just too much, or things come out and you're more angry than you need to be. But again, it's you have to work on yourself, and like you're saying, like you have to try to strive to have self-awareness. Like, you're never going to be perfect, and it's never going to be like life's never going to be perfect, but you do need to try to, yeah, the self-awareness thing, and I'm still working on it, but you have to be able to stand in your own self and deal with yourself and deal with the people around you, and being able to be like open about what you need and how you feel, because otherwise, that's like a jail sentence.
Yeah, it is. You're trapped in your own mind at that point.
Yeah, totally. And we have partners for a reason. Like, we're, if, you have a partner or you're married, you have a partner for a reason, and you're supposed to be able to share all those things. And it's never going to be perfect, but you have to be open. That's how we do things.
Well, and you have to view it as that they are a partner or a teammate almost, and you have to be able to know that you're working together for each other, and one day one will pick up the slack because the other can't, and vice versa, right?
Yeah,
It's sort of a effort, and if there's no team, that's when things start to fall apart, and each person crumbles, the family crumbles, and it gets a lot harder, I think.
for sure.
Thank you so much, Elise, for being on tonight. That was so much fun and so inspiring. I really
Cool.
enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, you too. It was so nice to see your face,
I
and
know.
meet you. Thank you for having me on. And I hope that you continue to do these lives, because the ones that I've been able to catch, like, they're awesome. I think it's amazing that you have created this space and want to talk to people and just have real conversations, because I feel like when we were talking on the phone, it's hard to find that. And I think
Yeah.
it's a really great thing that, you want to chat with different people and just have real, honest, interesting conversations.
Well, you never know where the conversation will go. And like in the hair
Yeah,
industry, right? You talk to so many different people all the time and you learn about them, and the conversation may start one way, but it'll always end up in a different direction
yeah,
once you find what you guys connect on, right? So
yeah,
it's just connecting with different people on a human level. And I've been so blessed to have all the people that have wanted to do it with me. And it's live, so it's crazy that people are actually agreeing. That's great. It's scary sometimes. I still get scared
yeah,
coming on here, but
yeah,
it's
for
been
sure.
fun. I love the connections I've made. I hope once all this is over, our kids can get together and play.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much. It was so great seeing your face.
Yes,
Take care.
thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Okay,
We'll
thanks.
talk.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys, that was awesome. Check out her page. She's an amazingly talented hairstylist. I'm so excited for her to launch her business once this whole fiasco is done and over with. Tomorrow night, I'll be chatting with Counselor Glenn Gower. He's going to be talking to us about some of the bylaws and just giving a little more information that the city has that we may not have gotten otherwise. Take care, guys. I'll see you tomorrow night. Oh, shit.